UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Engage.
78 years have passed since the days of the original USS Enterprise. Now a new Galaxy starship has been designed.
Transporter Chief, beam our listeners aboard. Welcome to Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast on the United Federation of Podcast Network. I am apparently the head of the Picard series fan club, Joe Keegan. I've been kind of locked in this room against my will by my co-hosts, Councillor Amy Nelson and Chief Recreational Officer Ria Papagiorgio. Guys, how are you today?
Better than you, apparently.
Amy?
Joe, you know, there in that fan club, there is a small sliver of people who don't like Picard, and that's what you are head of.
Yes.
I'm head of the people that don't. I'm ahead of the people that don't like Picard that are in the Picard series fan club.
Yes.
It's like a sub fan club.
Subset. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. I will be there. Listeners, before I say anything further, know that everything I say is kind of tongue-in-cheek. And I do have some strong opinions about Picard. But if you enjoy it, that's absolutely fine. I'm glad for anybody to enjoy anything that they enjoy. Mm-hmm. It's totally fine, because we all have opinions about everything.
Yes.
And the fact that you don't enjoy it is completely fine. And I love listening to your reasons so I can laugh at you. I mean, so I can try and understand you better. Yeah.
That's typical of Amy's type of kind of philosophy, that so she can laugh at people. That's just the type of person Amy is. So that's fine. I wouldn't laugh at anybody for their opinions, but that's just me.
At least not to their face.
Well,
and that, my listeners, is tongue-in-cheek.
Yes.
I'll just quote Scotty from The Trouble with Tribbles. Everybody's entitled to an opinion.
Okay, let's do some feedback on some previous episodes.
Logs accessed.
And listeners, we have quite a lot of feedback this week, so you've been quite good. Please keep it up. From Galaxy Class episode 43, where we discussed the Prime Directive, at Danny Galea 99 via Twitter tweeted Galaxy Class Pod and Amy Nelson, to each their own, but Justice, you are the first person I've ever heard to defend it so strongly. Love the podcast. It's a bit of shade there with a bit of love for you, Amy. I think it was directed at you.
Yeah, it was a little directed. Thank you, Danny. Justice. Interesting still that a lot of people don't like it, but I did get a comment off of this reply tweet from our good friends Bill Smith, who says that he likes Justice too. So thank you for standing with me on this one.
We also have some feedback from Galaxy Class episode 45, which was our Wesley Crusher profile. Amy, do you want to start us off with this?
Yes, Claude in our Federation Council chamber writes, I just finished listening to the episode and loved it. I love the discussion between the three of you and all the great points you brought out. Amy, I do believe I have a correction for you. You mentioned the Naked Now episode where Wesley is the opposite of the usual self and does not save the ship as always. In the beginning episode, that is true, but to correct you, it was not Wesley that pulled out the chips, but one of the engineering crew. Wesley is the one that mentioned Data could put the chips back real fast. He is also the one that uses his tractor beam in reverse to push away the other ship and save them enough time so they could get away. Am I wrong? I love the outtakes at the end of the episode. Keep up the great work. I look forward to the next episode of Galaxy Class. Thank you, Claude.
Our culinary discussion might make a little more sense if you listen to the outtakes at the end of last episode.
And I think his tractor beam that he put in reverse, they called a repulsor beam, didn't they?
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Thank you, Claude.
Also from the Federation Council Chambers, our good friend Vera Bible writes, another fantastic episode. Growing up, Wesley was my favorite character, and I never understood the Wesley haters. Despite his intelligence, he was grounded and never condescended to anyone. He always seemed to be an outsider, never quite knowing how to fit in with adults or kids his own age. I think this quality adds to his relationship with Worf, as Worf also knows how it is to feel like you don't belong. Rhea, I like your comments regarding Wesley remaining a traveler. Once we get to Jake and DS9, they were more willing to have someone not aspire to be in Starfleet, and I think it worked perfectly. Thank you, Vera. Yeah, I was thinking of that too with Jake. Another example of a teenage boy that didn't want to go into Starfleet. And it's kind of nice to break that mold a little more often. And the Worf connection too.
I suppose Wesley was the first child in Star Trek, and he was going to go to Starfleet. And then the obvious choice for the second child to be on a TV show was for them not to be. Otherwise, they'd just be compared to Wesley all the time.
Yeah. Because we would get that criticism about monocultures and that, all Klingons are warriors and all, Romulans are sneaky subterfuge, whatever. But you could say that all Federation people just want to be in Starfleet and everyone's the same. So it's nice as the series, the different series progressed to get characters that didn't want to be in Starfleet, and that's okay.
True. We have a comment from Paul Wright Jr. on the Federation Council Chambers. Great episode. I really didn't have a problem with Wesley during the first run of the show, but I have to admit he was a little annoying during the first season. Also, I think it would have been interesting to meet Leslie Crusher and see what kind of storylines she would have gotten on TNG. I am not sure, Paul, if I like the idea of Leslie. Just the way I think we mentioned during the episode of the way she could potentially have been portrayed in the 1980s Star Trek that we had. So, but yeah, thanks for your comment.
Maybe in the mirror universe, Wesley is Leslie.
Ooh, I like it.
You never know.
And we have a comment from our good friend Greg Malumbi via Facebook Messenger. It says, nice episode on Wesley. My first thought when Rhea was impersonating Patrick Stewart was that it sounded more closely to Sean Connery, and then she mentioned it with a smiley emoji face. I'm also glad you mentioned Journey's End. It was the start of the cross-series crossover of the Maquis to set up Voyager, and it really bookended Wes's story really well. Thank you, Greg, for your comment. Yeah, I think Journey's End really does complete Wesley's story, especially now that we know Jack is a traveler. So
yes, it's official.
This is very true.
This is the captain. Senior officers will report to my ready room immediately.
Listeners, we are here today to talk about the Picard series and how it kind of relates to the Next Generation. And kind of crossovers and things we find about it that are similar and what we like and dislike about it. Just everything, because this is a TNG podcast and obviously it's going to be related to the Picard series, so we're going to do a wee bit of a discussion there. I think Amy and Rhea are going to try really hard to try and convince me.
Nope, not going to try at all.
Nope.
No, that's absolutely... Do you know what? If there's anything that I am, it's open to having my mind changed. I'm scientific in that respect.
Have you put peanut butter on your eggs yet? Ooh. Alrighty. How are you liking them garlic waffles, Joe? Mr. Open-minded.
Open-mindedness, yeah.
Do you know what? I don't have a waffle iron, so no.
Wow.
Well, you can always wrap bacon around a banana while you're watching Picard.
I can't find my waffle iron. I did have a waffle iron, and it's not a small piece of kitchen equipment. I can't find it.
It got lost in the move?
No.
Oh.
Just can't. Don't know. No clue.
I hear a lot of excuses. But anyway, actually, I took your suggestion from last week, Joe, and I put peanut butter on chicken. Oh, delicious. Oh, and when I made peanut butter eggs yesterday, I didn't have mushrooms, so I sauteed some broccoli and butter and then some cashews. Oh my gosh. And then folded them into the eggs and then peanut butter on top. Oh, so good.
I kind of want, while I've never ever seen an episode of SNL, I kind of want there to be an episode where they kind of spoof Top Chef, and I want Rhea to be a contestant on it.
Oh, yes. That would be perfect.
Make it so, Joe. Make it so.
Hilarious. Okay, so listeners, we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of this discussion about Picard Season 1 and its relation to the Next Generation. Picard Season 1, which is loved by some, not loved by others. And TNG, all seasons and all the movies, which is beloved by all. So I think my first question to you guys is, let's go back to that Star Trek convention that we were all at. Okay, and we're sitting in the main theatre, the main convention hall. And who was the guy? Alex Kurtzman?
Alex Kurtzman came out. It was the big surprise.
Big
and
surprise.
It was like, no one knew who was coming out. They
Nobody knew.
Announced it. And when Alex Kurtzman came out, oh my gosh, I was so excited. I'm like, this is the surprise guest. But I was wrong. And
then Alex Kurtzman is just the warm-up act, and he's there to introduce the surprise guest. And the surprise guest was none other than Patrick Stewart, to announce that he's returning to Star Trek. And we didn't know anything at this point about what it was going to be, and it was just, I remember recording it on my phone and not being able to see my phone or the stage for tears, because I was just so super excited that it was Patrick Stewart and he was going to reprise his role as Jean-Luc Picard. What did you guys think about that? And following on from that, what were you excited about?
That moment is seared in my memory.
Yes.
It is. It is one that I will never forget. I mean, just listening to you start to describe it, the feelings came rushing in, and the joy and the tears. You're right. There wasn't a dry eye in that entire theater. I was so excited to watch it. And in watching it again in preparation for this episode, I wasn't as excited. I wasn't as excited to do a rewatch. And I'm just probably sure because I've already seen it, like I had experienced that excitement. I was happy for it. And now this was just a rewatch. I don't know. How did you feel about that, Rhea, on your rewatch?
Well, so I wasn't there when the big announcement was made. That was a year before my first ever Star Trek convention. But I do remember hearing about it eventually, and I was super excited for a number of reasons, one of which is more Star Trek. Yay. Another being I didn't personally feel that Nemesis was an entirely satisfactory conclusion to the TNG world. Sorry, Miss
Gasp. Let me gasp.
Well, and now gasp some more. And the other reason was I don't feel as strongly about Discovery as Joe does about Picard, but Discovery just wasn't quite it's not my Star Trek. I'll still watch it, and I enjoy it, but I didn't love it. And so I was excited at the thought of Picard coming back and having a series that might be more my personal tastes. Before the series started, I was super duper excited, and with some friends kind of came up with Picard and Go, came up with some spaces, and a bunch of us played Picard and Go, and that was really fun. And then on the rewatch, I was excited to rewatch it because I hadn't since I maybe rewatched it once after the first season ended, and I really enjoyed it. I'm not typically a binge watcher. And so when it had first come out, I watched one episode a week. And this time I watched them all within the span of a week, which for me is binge watching. And I enjoyed watching it that way too. And more things made sense this time around.
Oh, yes. I felt like because I also binge watched this past week, I understood the story so much better. And I saw the connections that were in and dropped to pick up the Rio story or to pick up the Rafi story or to pick up the connection with Soji and Daj. Like all of it was so much clearer. And I'm like, did I miss this on the first run? And I can't believe that because I did like 2 podcasts about it. I was watching it, each episode at least 3 times. But yeah, watching it through, like you said, a binge watch, you really do pick up the story. And I feel like I appreciate the complexity of the story so much more through this binge rewatch.
I think it's definitely made to stand up to multiple viewings.
Agreed. Absolutely agree.
And that might be some of the complaints about it when it first came out, is just there was so
Right.
much that it could be hard to follow. But in this day and age, no show is meant to be watched once through.
That's true. Yeah, with streaming services. Yep, you are right. That's a really good point. I hadn't considered that.
I hadn't either until right now. How about you, Jojo?
Well, no, I suppose the question was, what were you excited about before you saw the first episode?
On our rewatch,
No.
I was
so we
excited to see Picard.
Yeah, no, so what, in your mind, what did you want to see? What was Picard, the TV show, for you before the first episode had been released? Even before you'd seen the first trailer, what did you want from it?
It was the return of TNG. That's what I was excited about. It's the return of wrapping up in Star Trek blanket love. It was a return of, we're going to recognize the fans. And I wanted to point this out also. Picard was announced at STLV. Like, they did that for the fans. And if you notice recently, this past week had season 2 Picard trailer drop, and it dropped on Picard Day. So those small nods that this series is appreciating and recognizing the fans. I mean, even just the smallest, they could have released that trailer any given day, and they chose Picard Day. To me, that just shows a higher level of appreciation for the fans than the other series.
Yeah, you notice that, with previous incarnations where they would release new trailers and things at San Diego Comic-Con. And then a couple of weeks later at STLV, we would get nothing. So I think nowadays there's such huge tie-ins and a lot of money at stake that creators of content have to be really in touch with what the fans want, especially for Star Trek. Because we're so invested in the whole franchise that they know they have to kind of keep us happy in a way, don't they? I think.
We were not happy when that happened, when they dropped it at San Diego Comic-Con, and then we got nothing at STLV. I remember being very upset that year.
Yeah.
I was writing strongly worded letters to whoever was in charge.
I'm kind of one that doesn't really have expectations on new Star Trek, and I noticed that a lot with fan response to all the different series, and it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't what I expected, and I'm like, I guess I didn't expect anything. I was excited to see what was going to happen. I was excited to see what Picard and some of these other characters were up to, 20 years later. I was excited to meet these new characters, and that's even before I saw Santiago Cabrera. Cast as Rios. I was excited for any Easter eggs, and that was what the Picard and Go boards had, were a lot of Easter eggs in there. So there wasn't really anything specific. I was excited that Patrick Stewart was coming back as an old man, and I love having old people on TV. It makes me feel better about myself. So, yeah.
And I suppose, having seen Patrick Stewart on stage and waiting, a year before we got the first episode, I think for me, I was so hyped up by this return, which was huge, that it was going to be very easy for me to be disappointed. So what did I want from it? I'm very open-minded in the sense that the Star Trek universe is like our own universe. It is infinite. So the fact that through different series and movies, the Klingons have changed the way they look all the time. There's multiple different types of Romulans. I really don't mind that kind of thing. However, I don't know if I had any expectations. I think I knew it was going to be kind of a full series arc, as opposed to kind of individual episodic TV. And so I think I kind of wanted it. Did I want the TNG of the past back, with them all looking like really young, or having their adventures on the Enterprise again? I think I maybe wanted that, but knew I wasn't going to get it. So it was an interesting wait to see what we were going to get. And then the trailer started to come out, and this looks very different. And obviously, Patrick Stewart's in his 80s now, so he's not the Jean-Luc Picard that we had in the original run, so yeah, it was always going to be very different. Let's move on to our next topic on Easter eggs. And I think Amy's compiled many sheets of paper with all the Easter eggs that she got. Amy, do you want to take us through all the Easter eggs you found, and Rhea and I can jump in with what we saw?
Yes.
Okay. So right at the beginning, and again, you wouldn't notice this. Well, maybe you would. I didn't notice it first run, but when I started episode 1, the very first music you hear is Blue Skies. Mm-hmm. And it is the very last thing that we hear.
Yep.
And I love that bookend. I feel that they so nicely wrapped up the season, starting at the beginning and going to the end. Like, it just was so perfect. And the last scenes, were about Data. And I almost feel like season 1 is Data's story. And I didn't get that first round, but I just love that Blue Skies throughout. And that's a tie-in to Nemesis.
Yes. And definitely a tie-in to Data. And on a side note, I loved Issa's version. Her voice was just beautiful. Just beautiful.
Yep. Yeah. In episode 1, we get Captain Picard Day poster when he's going into his thing at Starfleet where he's trying to find the painting. Obviously, Data's painting. We get him with his hobbies from Next Gen. Mm-hmm. We get to visit Chateau Picard, which we saw in Family. And we get continual scenes of playing poker with Data. Obviously, a tie-in to All Good Things and poker from TNG.
Okay, let's talk about Picard going to the Starfleet Archive Museum in San Francisco and going into his vault. That was just a room of Easter eggs, wasn't it?
Yeah,
yes.
They had the Stargazer model.
The Stargazer, you had the Enterprise E. You had the Cousteau. Was it the Captain's yacht from the E?
Really?
I'm sure. You had a
Batleth.
And a Klingon Detach knife beside the Batleth. Like, literally everything on each shelf is an Easter egg that reminds us about something from TNG. So,
and in the interview, all the Easter eggs there that I just loved, and the young Picard and the Klingon High Council, and
showing scenes from TNG. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I loved that.
Was cool.
Yeah, because he was there standing next to Worf, and
the poker game at the beginning, and Picard pours the tea, and then puts milk in his tea. Mm-hmm. Like, Picard wouldn't do that. But later on, when he's in his kitchen in Labar, talking with Laris in Japan, he asks for decaf Earl Grey from the replicator.
Earl Grey decaf.
Yes. Yeah. But you'll notice the control panel for the replicator it looks like an LCARS display. So it looks like the TNG display with all the kind of rounded rectangles that they used, which is just feels comfortable. So
we also, when Picard is talking to Daj, it's interesting. Picard says that Data always wanted a daughter. Mm-hmm. And for some reason that stood out to me. And I was like, no, Data didn't.
Oh, yeah.
He wanted offspring. Mm-hmm. Because in the offspring, he let Lal choose what she wanted to be. So it's not like he wanted a daughter. He wanted offspring. I found, well, that was interesting.
You know what, though? Maybe after having Lal and losing her, maybe after that he wanted specifically a daughter.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe his paintings of Daj and Soji were, kind of in homage to the daughter that he would like to have someday.
Mm-hmm.
Did Jurati say about before that he was an inferior copy?
Yes,
She
about
did.
before. Yes.
Yes, when they're at the Daystrom Institute and she opens the drawer and there's bits of Before's body all lying about.
Yes.
Said that he's an inferior copy, and I was like, is that right? Then I had to try and think about. Have to rewatch Nemesis, I suppose. Who created Before?
Soon.
But he was
Union
created
soon.
before. Are you asking like
Before lore.
before wasn't
Yeah.
a copy? Before was an original. And
Yeah.
that Data was a superior copy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but Jurati says that Before was an inferior copy.
Oh, I don't
If Before
know
came
if-
before Data, then
Right.
Before wouldn't be
then
the
it
copy.
wouldn't be a copy.
Or was it in reference to Before having Data's engrams copied over, but not being able to cope with the complexity of them? Or wasn't?
be.
Oh, that could be. I see what you're saying. Yeah, because once Data put his engrams over, then that's what Girardi was talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Then my brain started to make up
Yeah.
like a false memory about Soong didn't create Before. Before was like a Riemann attempt to make a Data to lower Picard to Romulus.
Gotcha.
Oh.
But I don't know if I've just made that up.
I think you just made that up.
I think it's a bit like Robert and Renee dying in a fire on a boat.
All made up.
It's all made up because it didn't happen. Any more Easter eggs, Amy?
Oh, that was just episode 1.
That was just episode 1.
Okay.
So in episode 2, we get when Picard is talking with Dr. Moritz, and we get the time and that conversation where they serve together on the Stargazer and just sort of reliving. Those walks down memory lane happen, a lot. And I really appreciate those little Easter eggs. And then when Girardi says, Bruce and Data were friends of a sort, just totally takes you right back to Measure of a Man and Data's Day.
I think just after that, there's a thing that I took as an Easter egg where the camera is focused on an old-fashioned clock face. And in the reflection of the clock face, you see Picard standing beside the open fire in La Barre.
Yeah.
And I took from that, because there's the fire and there's the clock, that time is the fire in which we burn, that Soran said in Generations to Picard. And I was like, that seems very coincidental, but it just screamed out at me as Easter egg.
Yeah, I'm sure it was not coincidental. I would have never noticed that in a trillion rewatches, but I think you'd brought that up before. Yeah. Very subtle.
And when Picard is saying that, he's going to go out and search for everyone, Daj's sister, didn't know Soji at the time, but they say, well, you're going to need a crew. And they mention Riker, Worf, and LaForge, which I thought was fun because that's his crew.
Yeah.
And so they're out there, was it Starfleet headquarters or whatever, and the scene where Daj is, being attacked by the Romulans, and the Romulan choose that self-destruct pill that squirts green stuff everywhere. And then how the body's disintegrated totally reminded me of Nemesis with the
The Riemann
Yeah.
weapon. Yeah,
the
what was it?
tachyon pulse.
No.
Because it had the...
It was
the
it was not a
tachyon.
metagenic.
No, remember at the beginning of Nemesis, and she
Yeah.
has like a little purse, and it comes
Yeah.
out, and then all their body turns to stone
Tailoron.
and then ashes.
As a Tailoron generator.
Yes, there you go. I knew it started with a T.
Yes.
Trust me, the sciencey bits, they're all made up.
Yeah. Tachyons are for time travel, typically.
Okay. Yeah.
And detecting cloaked Romulan warbirds.
Yes. In 2 dimensions.
Yes, in 3D space.
Yes.
So in episode 3, we get to meet Hugh. Oh, no. Yes. And, we learn about Hugh.
Yes.
That's right. Sorry. And again, I'm just going to mention the use of music and how well they did that, because when Picard meets Rios and boards the ship, then we get the TNG theme music because it's like now he's going to start his adventure and we're going to, oh, that TNG music. Oh, I love it. So it was so beautifully placed and it meant so much. I think it would be, if you had never seen TNG, you would still enjoy it. And I think that music is swelling and I think you would enjoy and appreciate still the music. But because we love and know TNG so much, like it adds another level of depth. And that's what I was thinking with all of these Easter eggs. None of this is crucial in understanding the story overall, but it's just so nice to understand the complexity and the depth of the meaning of it being used. You know, that's what I love about Picard. And I really feel that the writers did fan service right in this series.
I agree. And I actually have an employee at work who had never really watched Star Trek before, but her husband was a fan. And so the first series she ever watched was Picard. And I'm like, oh my gosh, give me your feedback. I want to hear about it. I want to hear what you think about it. And she really enjoyed it, even without having, all of the background knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did a great job with that. And of course, the music. This might be the best scored series of all time. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. One thing that I kept seeing with different characters, and probably it's just me feeding into my love of Nemesis, but there were so many times where Picard, and I wrote it down in episode 3, but there were others where they are gazing and looking up to the stars. And it just reminds me of my beloved movie Nemesis, where Picard and Shinzon are sharing dinner and they're talking about looking up to the stars and wondering and the exploration and the curiosity. But that has been a theme all through TNG. Like when Picard goes home in family and Robert's like, you've always had your eyes in the sky, you know?
Yes.
And so that, again, just the smallest of nods that bring you back to TNG. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Amy, just go on with your Easter eggs.
Okay,
And
because I
we'll
don't
jump
want to
in.
go too fast if you want to interject. Okay,
We'll interrupt. Amy's the Easter egg bunny.
Okay, so in episode 4, and I didn't write down the names, I do apologize. But I
Absolute
love
candor.
Oh, yeah, right, because we meet Elnor.
Yeah.
And Picard is explaining to Elnor and asking him that he will take on his cause. And he tells Elnor stories about Data. And I love, again, just because all those stories happened on TNG. And so it's, again, a lovely another walk down memory lane to try and get Elnor to bind his sword to Picard's quest.
What I liked about episode 4 and the end of episode 3 is where you see the Romulans on the Romulan relocation planet. Where you meet Elnor and you meet the Coat Melat for the first time. And I like the fact that you got every type of Romulan that we've ever seen. There was some TOS looking Romulans, some TNG looking Romulans. There was Romulans that looked like they dropped out of the Kelvin universe. So I liked that it portrayed the Romulans as less of a monoculture that we got so used to seeing during the TNG run.
I noticed it, but when you verbalize it like that, I absolutely love that. I didn't think about it. I noticed it and I was like, is that a Romulan? Is that a Romulan? Because they were so different. Oh my gosh. Yes, I love that they chose that. Obviously, it was intentional.
Yes, for sure.
Because previously, whenever you see a Romulan, they always look the same. So the fact that they did it different was intentional. And I love, that's great pickup, Joe.
Oh, thank you.
And another thing I picked up kind of by accident. So I was rewatching Picard this week, and it was a few nights ago, and I turn on the TV and I go to, put it on my HDMI and put my Roku on and watch Picard. But the TV was on HNI, and the episode that had just started was TNG, and it was Unification Part 2. And it never clicked in my mind before, this divine providence. And I sat and watched Unification 2 that night. Because this whole thing with Picard and the Romulans, and it's kind of like, kind of out of the blue, who cares? But after rewatching Unification 2, in that episode, Spock is on Romulus trying to, reunify the Romulans and the Vulcans. And in Unification 1, you have Sarek, who comes to visit Picard and then dies. But, going back to the episode Sarek, you've got that connection between Picard and Sarek. So then Picard goes to Romulus and ends up meeting with Spock there. And I think that's the genesis of his involvement with the Romulans, because prior to that, they'd been an adversary. You had, what was that? Tomalak. You kind of had Tomalak and Picard, as enemies. But after Unification 2, and Sarek and Spock actually mind melded. I think that was the genesis of Picard's involvement with the Romulans. So then in Absolute Candor, you have the flashbacks of when he was on that refugee planet, all dressed in white, looking very British and colonial. But to me, that's a tie back to Unification 2, like where his involvement with the Romulans all began.
Rhea, it's really funny that you say British and colonial, because those are the exact words that I used earlier when I was watching episode 3, when he beams down to the Romulan planet and is kind of nice. There's a place where you have Del Monte, like canned fruit in the US, yeah? Okay, so in the UK, I don't know if you guys had the same, there were the Del Monte adverts, and it was the man from Del Monte. He was like the buyer for the Del Monte Fruit Company. He would go around to the colonies and buy up the pineapples and peaches and for canning later on. And he had the kind of cream coloured suit on, and he had the hat. The hat, with the black rim on it. So it just struck me as British colonialism.
Yes, and I mean that was absolutely intentional, I'm sure.
With the costuming. Wow, great pickup.
A couple of things that I picked up in terms of ships, because I'm a fan of spaceships and battles and things like that. So in Nemesis, we saw the Argo being used for the first time. And then in Picard on Mars, I think, we see the shuttles flying about, and they look very reminiscent of the Argo type shuttles used in Nemesis. And also there was the taxi that he took to go and visit Raffi. It was like a shuttlecraft, but it was painted yellow and a taxi on the side, and it looked like a TNG shuttlecraft. It was that same, they all had that kind of distinctive look.
Yeah. Maybe that was the one they gave to Scotty, and he started a taxi business with it.
Who knows?
And he's part traveler. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
All right, Easter egg bunny. What else you got?
Okay.
We had a first contact day, didn't we? We had a first contact day reference when the F8s when Rogan started destroying Mars.
Yep.
It was happened on first contact day.
Yeah, and we get that from Children of Mars, the short. But yeah.
Yes, but we also get that from First Contact, because First Contact was on First Contact Day.
Yes.
Very true. Yes.
But First Contact the movie, not First Contact the episode.
Yes. So moving on to episode 5, we actually get to meet Bruce Maddox at Free Cloud. There is mention, I know this isn't TNG, but we did see Quark, right? Didn't we meet Quark in TNG?
Or
Birthright,
I think
maybe?
he made an appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm claiming that as a TNG because it's referenced as Quark's bar at Ferenginar. So I'm claiming that, even though we recognize Quark as DS9, but we're taking that one there. And when Picard is talking to Seven, it's so moving because they're recounting their time on the collective and what it was like to lose control. And Seven asks Picard, were you able to regain your humanity? And he says, yes. And then she's like, all of your humanity? And he says, no. Oh my gosh. It tears, because you want Picard and you want Seven to be whole and you want them to be mentally healthy, and it can't be as a part of the Borg, you know? And again, bringing that whole time period of back to Best of Both Worlds, like, just comes in, and then First Contact, the movie, and just all of that you feel, I felt in that discussion with Seven.
I think, like, we've spoken about this before, but any type of trauma that the characters experience, it's always really horrific compared to, like, if we were to experience a trauma similar to the traumas that we see in episodes, then it would forever change you. So it's no surprising that you never get yourself fully back. Any experience is going to have an effect on you going forward. Can we talk about the orchids a little bit?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I read something earlier that the orchids were yellow and pink. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the yellow was to represent Data's skin tone, and the pink orchids were to represent Lal's skin tone, because when she was created, Data created her pink before she chose the human form. So apparently the yellow and the pink go with the father and the daughter skin tones that they had originally.
Well, but it also could signify, because he was combining the two orchids, right? And so taking your yellow skin and the pink skin and combining them as one.
Yeah. I would have never, ever, ever caught that.
Yeah. I like that.
Cool.
All right. So around episode 5 and 6, we really do get a lot of callbacks to the Borg and the time there. So we actually see images of Hugh and Locutus back in TNG days. Oh, I loved that. We have flashback scenes from Best of Both Worlds when the thing, again with the eyeballs. I don't know what the series has with the eyeballs, but we must see that scene, apparently, says every director and screenwriter. And what I loved about episode 6 was that Hugh learns the importance of a name because of his time on Enterprise, and how they are reclaiming XB. Or they're saying, this is ours, this is who we are, this is our identity. And so many times different groups, I mean, just in our society, have reclaimed or claimed a name that once was negative, and now it's like, okay, we're going to claim this as ours. You know, like, and for me, it's like, oh, you do that like a girl. And then how that has switched. Like, you know, I love the Nike ads that, you know, you hit like a girl, you swim like a girl. And then they have athletes, you know, doing it. Anyway, so they're like reclaiming that and creating a name, and how Hugh does that for the XBs and just takes you all back to Iborg and where he gets his name Hugh. Oh, it's so precious.
Agreed.
Didn't even occur to me. Rio has a mermaid tattoo, and his ship is called La Sirena, which translates as mermaid. Did you know this?
I did not.
From Siren, the sirens of the sea.
Oh.
Mermaids.
Okay.
Oh, it is a mermaid. Not that I'm zoomed in on any photos of Rios right now. I guess I never was looking at the tattoo.
Can we get to episode 7? My absolute favorite. Nepenthe.
There are 0 Easter eggs in episode 7. What are you talking about?
No episode.
I think that entire episode is like that ginormous chocolate bunny that's full of Easter eggs. That's nothing but Easter eggs. Yes.
Yeah, Nepenthe.
What happens in this episode, Amy?
What happened in my rewatch, and I'm just going to own up to it, I was crying. I forgot how beautiful this episode is, where we see Deanna and Riker. And Marina Sirtis, I was talking about it before we started recording, like, she stills every scene that she is in. Marina is amazing. And every time it's Troy and Picard, I'm just crying. The connection and the richness that they have in their relationship goes back to everything, all those small one-on-one counseling moments, the toast at their wedding, just everything is blended into those conversations where she sees him for the first time. That conversation is brilliant when she takes him into Thad's room. Just so heartbreaking, but so heartwarming at the same time. Oh my gosh, you guys, I was crying. It's the best episode, hands down.
When she asks him how he's doing, and you just see in her face, she speaks 1,000 volumes because she knows about the Irumodic syndrome. And oh my gosh, yes, she's so amazing.
Yeah. And Riker is cooking pizza. And this may be a stretch, so you guys just totally tell me I'm wrong. But we've got Riker, who the main issue is cooking, right? That's his goal. But it reminds me of the last time we see Riker on an episode in These Are the Voyages, where he was playing chef. So I'm using that as a callback and claiming These Are the Voyages, where he was the cook and the chef.
And where he cooks eggs in TNG. And he's listening to jazz.
And of course, in this episode, we've got Kestra telling Soji all about Data, the stories that she's heard from Will and Deanna. And so we get that walk down memory lane as well. Like so many walk down memory lanes.
I think the best bit about that episode is seeing the trailer for it for the first time. Where is it Kestra shouting, "Dad," and he's like, "What?" He's like just really grumpy sounding, washing
We're
dishes.
shouting! As he shouts. Yeah.
And then Kestra says, it's Jean-Luc Picard. And he turns around and you see that it's Riker. You know it's Riker, but just to turn around and see him for the first time is quite special.
It is. All right. Surprisingly enough, I did not get any references in episode 8 that hadn't already been mentioned. And so then moving on to episode 9 and 10, your conclusion, Girardi gets mention of the Picard mover, which they have the hologram of all the ships, the La Serena ships. It's mentioned the Treaty of Algeron, and we get Riker saving the day. That was quite brilliant. And
was it though? No.
Oh, come on now, Joe.
I feel like
it's a callback. All right. Now, Joe, you as the ship expert, remember when the Borg was repairing the cube? It looked like all those drone things looked like little exocomps, but my eyes could just be playing tricks on me. So if you happen to notice, or listeners, if you notice, they sort of look like those little exocomps from TNG.
I will have to go rewatch that and see.
Yeah.
Is that episode 9 or 10?
9 or 10, yes.
9 or, okay, I will check.
Okay, so a question for you. When I was watching it, my CB or Paramount app played through 9 and 10 with no break.
Because it's
part 1, part 2.
Mine
I don't
didn't.
know. It was weird. Yours didn't. See, maybe
Is yours set to autoplay?
I don't know. Maybe I just didn't even notice it. Maybe I was so involved that I don't remember hitting watch next episode, and seeing the credits. I really
on
don't
Star
remember.
Trek Picard.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that, but
Interesting.
And then again, I just have to admit crying at the end of Data, and to have him finally, the importance of an ending, is so beautiful, ugly crying. And with, as you mentioned before, Rhea, Issa's rendition of Blue Skies. And again, just that bookend was so brilliant. Again, just finishing Data's story beautifully. So those are my Easter eggs.
Just a
I
few.
loved all the connections. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I do. We're always a fan of the connections, aren't we? All the wee things. And I think they've been really good at doing that recently with Picard, with Discovery, with Lower Decks.
Yes.
Lower Decks
has been doing it right as well. Absolutely.
It's just mostly Easter eggs, isn't it?
Yes. Picard does it so well with, not just throwing them in there for fan service, but they're a part of the story. And that they're subtle and they're important. And yeah, I think Picard really did the Easter eggs well. Mm-hmm. Especially Nepenthe.
Cool. So I'm sure the listeners let us know there are way more Easter eggs than we could possibly have found, and the episode would be way too long to go into detail about all of them. So please let us know if we missed any of your favourites. Listeners, we're going to talk about what we think season 2 is going to be about. We've seen the trailer, we've seen some posters advertising season 2. We know that Whoopi Goldberg is going to reprise her role as Guinan. We know that Q is back, as we see in the trailer. What is the premise? Because we know it's going to be a season 2, say 10 episodes, one single storyline with John Delancey as Q, Whoopi Goldberg as Guinan,
Patrick Stewart as Picard.
Patrick Stewart, obviously, because it's named after the character. What is it about?
So, Rhea, I'm interested to know what your answer is, because especially after watching the series or season 1, do you feel that there's any unanswered questions from season 1 that will be used in season 2, or are we just going to not have any answers?
Have some inappropriate unanswered questions pertaining to Rios, but nothing to discuss on the air. Pretty sure they won't delve that deeply in season 2.
I mean, Girardi is supposed to go under arrest.
Yes.
Okay. She was going to be dropped off at Deep Space 12, but then they had to go, save the galaxy. So, and then the very last scene, she's kissing Rios, and I'm like, okay, so are we going to get any, justice for her actions for killing Bruce Maddox? I don't know. Are we going to, did the Romulans just go back to, I don't know where, they don't have a home world? Where are these Zhat Vash going to go?
Has O been kicked out of Starfleet?
Exactly.
I hope so. Maybe a court-martial there.
Okay, so Rhea, season 2, do you think they're going to pick up, or are they just going to start fresh?
I think a lot of it will be starting fresh, because now they've got this crew that's gelled, and a lot of the, struggles were tied up at the end of season 1. But you're right, the Girardi thing, she still needs to, face some kind of trial, some kind of justice. It'll be at the end of season 1. I was curious to see if Seven would stay with the La Sirena versus going back to being a Fenris Ranger. Based on the trailer from season 2, it sounds like, obviously we'll have Seven or Annika. Mm-hmm. So the trailer pretty much came out and said that time is broken, and you've got Q in the mix, so we'll see what he has to do with that. I almost wonder if any actions will be undone. Perhaps would, Girardi never have murdered Maddox in the first place? I don't know. I was very intrigued by the trailer, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Although there wasn't enough Rios in the trailer, but there can never be enough Rios.
So the time is broken thing is maybe the most intriguing thing. It allows them kind of carte blanche to do whatever they like. Because with time travel, you can do anything. And it's interesting that the Picard and Discovery, there's one crossover thing that I can think of with the Koat Milat. We first see the Koat Milat in Discovery, and then we see them in Picard, or is it vice versa?
Vice versa.
It's vice versa. So we see them in Picard first, and then Michael Burnham's mother is a member of the Koat Milat in the very far future. So it's interesting, what do they do? Because Discovery's already time travelled to 900 years in the future. Is there potential for Picard to do the same? Like a crossover, Michael Burnham, Picard saving the
Michelle
universe.
Yeoh.
Yeah, do
Maybe
you know what,
that's where the Guardian sends evil Captain Giorgio.
is there scope for Picard in the Mirror Universe? The one thing I noticed about the poster, see the poster we saw with the Delta made out of kind of freeway flyovers in what looks like a very 21st century vision of an American city. Kind of looks like the LA skyline in the distance with like lots of cars on the highway.
Oh yeah.
What is that?
It
Is that
does.
means they time travel into the past,
Oh.
like present day, to save us from COVID?
Right?
I just hope it's sciencey. That the whole time is broken thing. I hope there's like a ton of science behind that. But I just now Googled the poster. I hadn't seen it before. Yeah.
So, can I just say one little worry that I have about season 2?
Mm-hmm.
I love a good Q episode. Absolutely. But by the end of the Q episode, I am so glad that it's done. I mean, even Tapestry and like all good things, like it takes you on this ride and where Q is so annoying and like Encounter at Farpoint, like every time I see Q or what's the one where he gives Riker's power?
Was it Q Who? Or no?
No.
Hiding Q?
Hide and Q. Yeah. And he's so annoying, but it's a fun adventure. But then, oh my gosh, when the episode's done, I'm just like, oh, okay, done with Q. Am I going to be able to withstand 10 episodes of this? Oh, Q is annoying. Oh, he's going to do this. Oh, he's going to throw a wrinkle in time. Like, love episodes of Q, but I'm really good for just one episode. I'm getting a little nervous that it's going to be 10 episodes of this hijinks that Q creates. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it as much as I was season 1.
I think if Q's in it, I think it'll be like a 2021 Q, potentially be a darker Q, and less of the mischievous, omnipotent god.
Yeah, maybe he's grown something.
Yeah. And I did hear he's only going to be in 7 episodes, if that helps. And Guinan will be around to maybe reel him in a little.
With her
With her
Yes.
cat
finger
fingers.
maneuver, yeah. See in the poster, is that an actual US city they've used and then CGI'd the Delta with roadways? You know,
I don't know.
it's like
There's
it looks
mountains in the background.
mountains in the background. There's a river. It kind of looks like those LA storm drains that you get in movies, or the LA River that runs out to the ocean. LA has mountains, hills, doesn't it? It's not. I think it looks
Interesting.
more like LA. I think it's
does,
LA.
yeah.
And I've never been to LA, but
Oh, it looks more New York City-ish to me.
nah, New York's way bigger than that.
I know, but it doesn't look like LA. They don't have that tall, do they?
Yeah.
I mean, the traffic and the freeways, that definitely reminds me of LA, but
LA in the middle of the night, because otherwise it'd be 10 times as many cars.
mm-hmm.
I would imagine that they would use Q more tastefully. I think they've learned from TNG not to Jar Jar Binks him.
Mm-hmm.
And he is, possibly an older and wiser Q. I mean, he definitely looks older. To guide Picard to fix the broken time. I wonder if there are like time crystals on Borith, and that's why that's how the time got broken.
You're just gonna gel all of the episodes, all of the series.
Temporal Cold Wars. Bring Enterprise into the mix.
So we don't really know what to expect from season 2, apart from Q getting in the crew of La Serena. How do they?
But not all of them, right? Because we didn't see Alnor.
He's got to be back. We need me.
I mean,
Some-
if Seven is back, because he, changed his cause to Hugh, which would change his cause to Seven, but we don't see him.
Are Seven and Raffi still a couple?
Is Soji going to continue, or is she staying on her home planet?
I think she
with
pretty
the
much
other
said,
synths?
yeah, I think she said at the end of episode 10 that she was going to
Okay.
continue with Picard.
Okay, good.
And Rios, are we going to get
Yes.
enough Rios, preferably without a shirt?
Clothing optional, but who knows? About Q, I like the fact that they've not tried to de-age him.
Mm-hmm.
I think because Q, I think we perceive Q in whatever way Q wants to be perceived, in whatever way our brains can handle. Because he's an omnipotent being from some extra dimension, so the fact that he could look young, could look old, he looks like John Delancey currently does, so I think that's totally fine. Mm-hmm. And I don't want any hokey de-aging things like they did with Data, because that wasn't the best. Picard's de-aging was spot on. Data's de-aging made him look like a hamster eating all the food.
Yes.
De-aging? What do you mean?
But they make them look younger using special effects.
In the Picard
Right.
series?
Yeah.
I don't think that was de-aging of Data.
Mm-hmm.
They tried. I mean,
They
Spiner,
tried and...
yeah,
Yeah, they
it
weren't successful.
wasn't great. But I think Q's first line to Picard is, "Oh, you look old now," or something like that, or "You've aged." I forget exactly what it was, and I think that, like you said, Joe, that opens the door for Q to appear old too, because Picard is.
Yeah. Sneaky question I've not put in the outline. What did we not enjoy about Picard?
Oh, Narissa.
I've got a bunch.
Narissa and Narek.
Thank you. The number one worst part of Picard, absolutely Narissa and Narek. I didn't even like Narek and Soji. I didn't like the Gollum solution at the end where Picard got put into a synth and whatever. But yeah, and I'm not a fan of Girardi. I remember really liking her the first time I saw her in my first watch. Mm-hmm. This time, not a big fan of hers, actually. Oh, I was absolutely loving Raffi even more. So what I lost in Girardi went to Raffi.
I was exactly the opposite on Girardi. I didn't like her at all the first time through. And this time, I like her a little more. But yeah. How about you, Joe? Besides all of it.
I felt like I was trying to eat the most delicious meal with a spoon, but the spoon was out of phase. So anytime I brought food up to my mouth, the food would fall through the spoon. So I was left completely unsatisfied by what should have been the best meal I've ever had.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't know if it was being so hyped up for what maybe I expected it to be. Was it trying to be more than the sum of its parts? And then I don't know. Yeah, the rewatch that I'm currently doing is a struggle. And I don't really know why. It looks very beautiful, like visually. But in terms of storyline, it seems really clunky.
The storyline, no, it was so wonderfully integrated. I just loved how the connections and one lead went here to the Borg and one lead went here to Data. And there were so many threads, just a little tug, and it just would vibrate and send all the fan service and Easter eggs singing. That's all it was.
I agree. I liked all the threads and the way everything tied together. I mean, maybe the ending, things were resolved a little too much in Voyager fashion, to boom, quick, and everything's resolved. But aside from that, I loved how everything wove together, and I liked the cuts, how they would kind of, like when in Stardust City Rag, how they cut between preparing to go down to Free Cloud and while they were down on Free Cloud. I really enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. And they seem to do a lot of that kind of editing.
Like how they just tied in the Romulans and the synths together, that whole story and their ghost story and the fable and the myths, and then, it's real. I really enjoyed the stories much better. It was a few of the characters that annoyed me. And then, like I said, Girardi, she surprised me by not liking her on this rewatch. So
Yeah.
I think I just wanted it to be more than what it was for me. Like, so the Borg cube, it's like the biggest ship we've ever seen, with the exception of maybe V'ger in the motion picture. So it's like huge, and we've never really seen it on the scale they show it in Picard. And then they kind of do nothing with it. They fly it.
what do you mean we've never seen the scale of it? We've seen the Borg cube. I mean, best of both worlds, first contact.
We've seen it, but in terms of its internal structure, we've never seen it looking as grand as it does in Picard.
Right, that is true.
The fact that it's just...
So isn't that a good thing?
Yeah, but then they do nothing with it. They fly it to the Sung planet, and then it crashes, and that's it. It's just literally a vehicle to get from one place to the other.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at how it was damaged because of the Romulans when they were trying to assimilate them, Ramda broke the cube.
Yeah.
Like, so for it to even fly and get to the homeworld of the Synths, pretty remarkable.
I know,
Will
but
we get more
a lot
Romulans
of
in
it's...
season 2, I wonder? Or are we done with that?
I don't know. I think we might be done.
I think like Discovery is done with the Klingons. Picard's maybe done with the Romulans. What was with those interdimensional beings coming through?
Oh, that was the worst. That's even worse than the Golem. You were correct. That is the worst.
There's always these things that had so much potential, but they just seem to follow a dead end.
That was the worst. Okay,
My biggest gripe, though, and this will be my last gripe for this episode,
thank
is
goodness.
the Starfleet fleet that Riker
I have a
swoops in
reason
with.
for that, but go ahead.
The copy and paste. It's like, let's create a fleet, let's create a starship and just copy and paste it 120 times.
That was, again, another thing. The number of ships was way beyond. And especially if both Federation and Romulans had lost all their ships in the transporting and saving, right? The Romulan lives. Like, they wouldn't have that many ships available. Either side. I'm sorry. That was terrible. And I didn't even appreciate the special effects of it because there were so many. It didn't make sense why there were so many. Romulans would not have that many warbirds available after losing their son. No, I don't buy it.
Unless everyone did the Picard maneuver and projected holographic
50.
ships.
Yeah.
But I heard people complain about all the ships being the exact same model, the copy-paste, like Joe was saying. And that's one of those things that I would never notice because I don't know, I can't see that well. But so here's my theory for that, is that Mars was destroyed. Mars, that's where Utopia Planitia was, right? That's where they built the ships.
Yeah.
So now Mars is destroyed. You know, their shipbuilding capability, they had to start from scratch. It's a lot more efficient to just make one model. That's my theory.
I mean, I get why the La Sirena had the copy and paste because that was intentional. That was the Picard maneuver. But then when we see Riker and the fleet show up and the Romulans and their fleet, no. Yeah. The number was too large, too astronomical.
I didn't mind the number. I minded the lack of diversity of classes of ship. I wanted to see like a Deep Space Nine battle where they were just literally throwing any old ship that was in mothballs at the Dominion. So you had like old Miranda class starships and you had Galaxy classes and the Defiant and Excelsior classes. You had a huge variety because they were kind of good at designing starships back then, back in the heyday. So I kind of wanted that, and they didn't give me that. So,
which reminds me of a TOS Easter egg when Picard, I think episode 2, is meeting with the Doctor. Maybe it was episode 1, and he mentioned being an ensign on the USS Reliant, and I don't remember catching that the first time through. And that's the That's the starship. That's the one in Star Trek 2 that Chekhov was serving on, that Khan
Right.
destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was,
it
yeah.
was
Little
indeed.
aside there.
Final thoughts, guys. What are we thinking about Picard Season 1 and its tie-in with TNG?
I think it was a beautiful extension of TNG. I think it honored TNG as a series and the movies and all that, and just kind of expanded and fleshed out, some of the characters and brought Data to a nice, satisfying conclusion that we may or may not have gotten in Nemesis. And Rios needs to take off his shirt more.
I really did enjoy my rewatch. I was very surprised that I liked it this much. And it seemed that, like I said before, the story was connected so much more than I even picked up first watch. The TNG tie-ins, I literally was there with my notebook. Oh my gosh, I have to pause this. This makes me think of this. This makes me think of this. And they did it right. The way that they mentioned and introduced and had visuals and even the audio, like the music and how they tied everything together, I just feel was so brilliant. I loved that it always is going back to TNG. Don't know if that's going to continue for season 2, because I think with this first season, they had to be so careful with the fans. And it's like, okay, now that, well, for most of us, we are on board. They might have less, but I would sure love it if they continued to have all these callbacks. And I sort of hope that they will. That's what I'm looking forward to. I think, again, I mentioned the music and just, yeah, Data's story was so brilliant. And the last 3 episodes, the feeling of hope and inspiration, and one person can make a difference, and we can be together and we can fight this, and we can have hope. We can have hope in people, that people are going to make the right choices. Like all of those things of this TNG utopian society comes through in the last 3 episodes that I absolutely love. We get all these wonderful Picard speeches that just, again, take us back to TNG. So I really did enjoy seeing specifically the connections back to TNG. And I'm right, Picard is an extension of TNG, and I'm grateful for that.
Interesting. I think, I didn't enjoy Picard. There were bits I did enjoy. I do like an Easter egg, but I don't think Easter eggs make a TV show, necessarily. And I wanted this overall season arc, the storyline, to be more than what I thought it was. And it's going to be different because I'm only on episode 4 just now in my rewatch. So it's going to be interesting to see how my feelings potentially change based on what you guys have said today. I might have enjoyed it more if I hadn't seen Patrick Stewart in Vegas, and if I hadn't refreshed my browser every day looking for new news on Picard and having to wait the whole year. So I think my expectations just got
ran away from you.
Yeah, completely blown up.
So be sure to tell Patrick Stewart that he ruined Picard for you. But anyway.
No, do you know what it is? What it is, it's a TV show, and I think with the universe being infinite, like, there's going to be things that you don't like in it, which is totally fine. You can... There's nearly approaching 1,000 episodes or 1,000 hours of Star Trek now, so you're not going to enjoy every single one of them. That would just be too far-fetched to hope for. I miss the utopianism of TNG, and I think it's one thing that Picard did that a lot of TV shows do. I think they've tried to replicate the dystopian reality that we live in at the moment in their TV shows.
Yeah.
Which is good in some aspects because it helps highlight the positivity of the characters that we see. But I think it lost something. It lost... we all love that. We all love the Enterprise D and the fact that carpets and potted plants in it. But to see pretty much the Federation like how many races wanted to leave if we continued to save the Romulans. Like 14 member worlds wanted to leave the Federation. Raffi was, she's an outstanding first officer for Picard, and then she became a bit of a desert dwelling junkie, didn't she? She was smoking her peyote or whatever. It was all a bit too dark, and I think I get why they did that, because they wanted to have something to hope for in the whole series, but it was too different and I didn't like it. I want my 1986 TNG back.
Well, you'll always have that.
Yeah, do you know what? If I want that kind of TNG, I just have to make it for myself. So
there you go.
It's funny because I too want that. And with each series, I keep thinking, maybe this time it'll be episodic, because I started with Discovery, then I went to Picard, didn't get it. I'm getting these season-long story arcs, and so now I'm thinking, okay, Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
Maybe I'll get my
episodic.
episodic TV. I keep thinking, and I don't know why I keep hoping, because this has been now twice that I have been disappointed.
Is episodic
So yes, I
TV,
feel you on the episodes.
episodic TV is kind of a dead thing now.
No, it is not.
Is it
Just
not?
resting.
No, there are shows that I watch that's episodic and character story arcs. Like a lot of these crime and mystery solvers, like NCIS, Law and Order, like you get a specific crime or problem that they're working on, but the characters and their relationships and theirs, the stuff above, but the meat of the episode is episodic. They have a case, they solve it, bam. But the character carries on.
Yeah, so the story for that episode is episodic, but the episode doesn't reset
Right.
at the end. So whatever changes for the characters continues on to the next episode.
Yeah. I mean, they'll have different cases,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
different, but yeah.
Incoming transmission.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's show and hope you'll join the Facebook group Federation Council Chambers. You're welcome to start conversations with us or add any general Star Trek info you want to share with the group.
If you'd like to send us an email, you can email us directly at galaxyclass@ufp.earth, and we will read your email on the show. You can also follow us on Twitter at GalaxyClassPod.
Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a star rating and written review. That helps others to find the show. You can also follow the entire network's podcast with our master feed by searching United Federation of Podcasts. This way you won't miss any of our fine shows like All Good Things, Franchise Fatigue, Always Hold On to Arrow, General Quarters, Mickey's Marvels, Infinite Diversity, Trek Pod, History with the Zolagis, and Sasquatch. So, Amy, where can people find you when you are not out picking tomatoes with Ms. Deanna Troy?
Well, when I'm not experiencing real food with the Rikers, or should I say the Troys, you can find me here on the network where I'm hosting All Good Things. I am also hosting Union Federation Podcast. I am on Twitter at Miss Amy Nelson, but my favorite place right there in the Federation Council Chambers on Facebook. And Rhea, when you're not playing soccer with Captain Rios, where can people find you?
I can't
Hold
say
on a minute, why
that
don't I
on the
get
air.
to play soccer? I know I'm not like a football
I
player,
didn't
but
know
why?
you liked him that.
Come on, seriously, do you know me?
I mean, and I'm saying play soccer.
I would play soccer. I would play
okay.
soccer all over him.
Okay, all right. Then you are editing.
When I'm not playing soccer with Captain Rios, I'll probably be taking a nap so I can play soccer with Captain Rios again. Otherwise, you can find me blushing like a schoolgirl right now. You can find me on the Federation Council Chambers. You can send me an email at riapod47@gmail.com. And Joe, I can't even say it.
Go on, say it.
I don't know what she's laughing at.
This is staying in, listeners. If you're still listening, Ria's having
Yes.
she's got a fit of the giggles.
She does have the giggles. I'm sorry, you guys. And Joe,
Yeah.
where can people find you when you're not listening to Rhea maniacally giggle while she's rolling around on the floor thinking of Captain Rios?
When I'm not doing that, you know that I'll be thinking of Captain Rios also. So I'll be doing that, and when I'm not doing that, you can get me, tweet me on the something or other. You can get me, yeah, find me. I'm there.
At Joey Joe.
Yeah, I know.
77 UK on Twitter. At Joe Mel at
Joe Mel,
Podcasts at gmail.com.
None of those details were right. Okay, so you can tweet me on the Twitter at JoeyJoe77UK, or you can email me joepodcasts at gmail.com. Not what Amy said. No, you said at Joe Podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was
at gmail.com.
Yeah, but that's not at the beginning.
Well, okay.
Well, you can't have two ats in an email address. Jings.
At Captain Rios Fan Club at gmail.com.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
If you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/UFPEarth to get all the details.
We would like to recognize our executive producers, Brandon Shamutella, Ken Tripp, Zach Moore, and Tony Robinson. We would also like to thank Zach Tripp for our opening and closing music, and Tony Robinson for our amazing artwork.
Thank you for beaming aboard the Galaxy class, and until next time.
I've never slept with a captain before. I highly recommend it. Stay classy, Galaxy.
Great joy and gratitude.
There have been 5,843 days since my opinions offended anybody.
Engage.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.